Hey, what's up everyone and welcome to another video, and I'm here to do something a little bit different for the channel. Usually I do reactions and game pickups videos and little let's plays and stuff like that, but I want to do something a little bit more different with the channel for the rest of the year. So I want to do more videos that are that are topics in a way. This is going to be my predictions for the new Xbox, or I guess Microsoft. It's an Xbox showcase. The new Xbox event that's happening in July, which we don't know when it's happening in July, but most likely it's going to happen in July. And actually, there's a rumor right now going around that there will be also one in August regarding the Lockhart, which is not the Series X. It's the Series S. That's the rumored title, which is going to be it's going to be the same console, except you see that little line right there on the bottom left of the front of it. That's not going to be there because there's going to be no disk drive. I'm assuming it's going to be smaller too, at least a little bit smaller. Even though I've seen the Xbox Series X, it's pretty small. But anyway, I want to do some predictions. I see some other people doing it, so I was like, you know what? Let me do my predictions. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do expectations. These are things that I expect to be there. Maybe not stuff I'm hoping for, but these are things I expect to be there. And we're also gonna do my hopes. These are the things I hope will be there. Like they might even be too crazy to even exist, but I hope that it happens. So let's do expectations first, and then we'll go on to my hopes, because I'm very hopeful. Let me just tell you that. Before we actually get to it, I should ask everybody in the comments, let me know what you expect and hope from the Xbox event happening next month. Honestly, I wish I did one for the Sony one that happened with the PlayStation 5 reveal event. But I'm hopeful, and that the Xbox One's gonna be very good. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to my expectations. Okay. So I got a lot, because I think it's gonna be a pretty big show for the most part. First things first. Now, this is not gonna be in any order of when they're gonna show it. Show this stuff during the show. So this is just a random assortment of expectations. But this one, I have a feeling this is how they're going to start the show. They're going to start off like they did 2 years ago with their E3 press conference. They're going to start off with Halo Infinite. And we have yet to see gameplay. We've seen... That's my AC. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, I forgot to turn it off before I started the video. Hey, it's hot. It's hot over here, okay? So I apologize. Anyway, Halo Infinite, I think they're going to start the show off with Halo Infinite. If not the beginning, definitely the end. They did start, to be fair, they did end last year's show with Halo Infinite. So it could be either or. When they revealed it, they started off the Xbox event in 2018, and 2019 they ended it with Halo Infinite. So whatever. But they're going to show, of course, gameplay. At this point, they have to. It's what? Assumingly, we assume it's going to come out. The console is going to come out sometime in November. That seems like the perfect time, especially since like Cyberpunk said it'll be a launch title. I think or not even a launch title, but it will launch with the new console. So it's either going to be like early in November, maybe late in October. I don't see October really. I think probably early November. But yeah. So it's gonna be shown finally, the gameplay. It's gonna look sick. This is more of this is not even an expectation. This is a prediction. It's gonna look amazing. The Slipstream engine, I think, is what they're using, or is it Slipspace? I think it's Slipspace. That's their new engine for Halo. Is gonna blow everybody's minds. I mean, last year the graphics were so good from that in-engine trailer, and that trailer was great, by the way. That reveal Master Chief and I forgot I got a Master Chief guy here. Just him floating in space, so good, so freaking good. But yeah, they're gonna show that, but they're gonna give us tons of details. Couch co-op. They're gonna tell us what the multiplayer modes are. They're gonna show us multiplayer. They're gonna show us a demo for the actual story. They're going to show us a ton of shit. So I have a feeling a big chunk of this event is going to be dedicated to Halo Infinite. If not, then I could see them just doing maybe a 5-minute segment, just like, hey, it's coming, and then later on they'll do other things for Halo Infinite. You know, like just maybe not even events, but just like posting like, here's an 8-minute gameplay demo or whatever. But I have a feeling they're going to really dedicate this event to Halo. But everything else, there's going to be a lot of other stuff, I think. Okay, so Halo Infinite, that's going to happen. There's no way it's not. Okay. No way. If it doesn't, then they have to do some big thing for Halo Infinite. It's not going to be one of those things where they're just like, IGN has the IGN first. You know, it has to be its own thing. All right. So besides Halo, you are also going to have a new Forza, of course. Forza, I'm assuming 8, unless they do Horizon 5. I guess it's been enough time for Horizon 5. What was 2018 was Horizon 5, but Forza 7 I think was 2017. So I think Forza 8 makes more sense. And it's gonna blow everybody's minds. They're gonna look at it and go, Gran Turismo who? Gran Turismo who? No, I'm just kidding. The Sony fanboys are gonna kill me for this video, especially since everybody thinks I'm like an Xbox fanboy just because I have this up here. They ignore the fact that I also have a Nintendo thing here, but and I used to have a Sony thing in the background. Well, there you go. I have Nate Drake right there. I still do. There you go. Yeah, whatever. And look, you can kind of see Sonic there. Look at him. You can barely tell that's Sonic from that far away. But yeah, I think they're going to show new Forza, and it's going to look great. It's going to look amazing. They're going to show the detail on the cars. They're going to see all the dirt and snow that is going to be on the car. Look at all the details. Oh, you got a fender bender. Look at the crunch, you know, and all that stuff. One thing I think they're going to do that I think a lot of people expect them not to do is I think they're going to actually talk about Lockhart. Now, I know Lockhart will have an event. That's the rumor, and I feel like this probably will happen. It'll be like a mini event or something. Maybe even during Gamescom, because I know Gamescom is happening in some form this year. But yeah, like I think they're gonna talk about it. They'll say like, we have more information about Lockhart. Maybe they'll even reveal the name, but they won't say what it actually is. We all know what it's gonna be, but I don't know. I think Lockhart's gonna be mentioned somewhere. All right, next thing, I think they're going to finally give us the release date for that freaking Battletoads game. That is gonna happen. There's no way. It's been 2 years since it came, or it was revealed. Last year they showed some gameplay. It looked really good. I think it's coming out this year. I'm going to assume it's going to be kind of like a launch title with Xbox Series X. They'll say probably like later this year or something. So they might not have a release date, but they'll have a release window. Next, they're going to have Everwild, which is that new Rare game that we saw during the Inside Xbox. Was it during the May Inside Xbox, or was it right before that? I think it was before that. It looks like it could be good. It has a very like Breath of the Wild feel to it. So I am interested in that game. So I have a feeling they're going to show that. Now, when it comes to Gears of War, I don't know if they're going to show anything Gears 6 related. I think hasn't been long enough. It hasn't been a year since Gears 5. So what I expect them to show is just Gears Tactics, because it's not out on Xbox yet, so I have a feeling they're gonna show it maybe like as a quick thing, like Gears Tactics, maybe a new trailer, and then it'll say like, oh, coming in, I don't know, September or October, you know. I have no idea, because I don't think everything here is going to be Xbox Series X related. That will obviously be able to be played on Xbox Series X, just like pretty much everything that's going to be on the Xbox One right now, because there's going to be no real exclusives for the Series X. I think people don't realize that yet, is that there's not going to be too many exclusives for the Series X, at least when it first comes out. There will be in the future, but right when it comes out, there's going to be a lot of games that you could just, or I think most of the games, you're going to be able to play on your Xbox One, S, X, whatever the fuck you have. But the Series X is not going to have too many standalone games. So yeah, Gears Tactics, I think they're going to show that. I hope this happens. That game, remember that game Scorn that they showed during the May Inside Xbox thing, where they showed all their gameplay for I'd say gameplay because they didn't show shit. Scorn was a game that really just like took everybody by surprise. It's a game I've known about for a little while. I'm a huge Easy Allies fan. So they've always done on their podcast, if you know who Easy Allies is, they're past game trailers guys. They've made a new thing called Easy Allies. I'm sure you've seen their reactions. If you watch my reactions, most likely you've seen their reactions. Not that we're anything similar. They're way better. But that's not even me being like, ooh, it's just the truth. But Scorn, they have yet to show any real gameplay. They showed gameplay a few years ago, because this game's been really delayed, I guess, in development hell almost, because it's been like, I think 2015 was the first time we saw gameplay, maybe even 2016, but it's been a long time. So hopefully we'll see some updated gameplay. Obviously they revealed it a couple months ago again, because they thought it's getting, or at least we assume that it's getting closer to completion. So I would love to see some gameplay. Another thing that I think they're going to show is The Medium, which is that game that kind of looked like Silent Hill a little bit from a couple months ago. That is being made by the guys that did Layers of Fear and the Blair Witch game. And The Medium, they're going to show some gameplay. That game I'm very excited about, and they're going to probably announce that's coming like November or something. October would make more sense, because they already confirmed that's coming this year. And like, now this is one thing. This is very vague, but I think they're going to show a couple of things that are third party. I'm sure they want to keep to more exclusive games to Microsoft, or Xbox, I should say, not Series X, but just Xbox in general. But I'm sure they're going to show some third-party stuff and say, like, it'll be better on Series X. You know, they're going to do that. There's no way they're not. So I expect they're going to show some Madden and what it'll look like on next gen. Maybe NBA 2K, even though I think Sony did that recently, so maybe not that one. But one thing I hope they do, and I'm hoping that this is the reason EA didn't show it during their EA Play, is we get that Mass Effect trilogy. I hope they show that somewhere during this. It won't happen. I know it won't. I know for a fact I know it's not going to happen because we want it. So it ain't going to happen. But I hope it does. That'd be amazing. But yeah, they're going to show some third-party stuff. I wouldn't even be surprised if they show Assassin's Creed again. Like maybe show a trailer that actually is gameplay. And then Ubisoft, when they do their event, they'll show their gameplay. That's assuming this event happens before the Ubisoft press conference, which I don't think so. I think this is probably going to happen later in July, so Ubisoft will have already shown Assassin's Creed, so that's probably not going to happen. But, you know, third-party stuff. Just they're going to show some third-party stuff, and I think it's not going to be, like, amazing stuff, but they're going to show some stuff. Here's the question. All right, are they going to reveal price? I don't think they're going to reveal price during the show, because I really do think they want Sony to announce theirs first, because last time they announced theirs first, they obviously didn't do very well. They weren't doing well already, so even if it was the same price as Sony or even cheaper, I don't think they would have won anyway. But yeah, I think they really want to wait and see if Sony's going to. But I have a feeling the Series X is going to be cheap anyway, like way cheaper than PS5. I have a feeling like $300 to $400, maybe $400 is like tops, I think, for Series X. But PlayStation is going to be most likely $500 to $600, I think, at least. But anyway, we'll see. What I think they're going to reveal, though, is the release date. Maybe not release date, release month. I think they'll say November or something. It's coming. Or October. It's got to be one of those months. It can't be earlier. September would be a little too early, so October or November. I think November, the beginning of November, is perfect. That's when the PS5, the Wii U, and the PS4, PS4, Wii U, and Xbox One came out, so that's where most consoles come out. Unless you're the Switch. Nintendo's just like, I don't give a shit. We're releasing this March, baby. And that worked out, so, you know. Anyway, so next, I think what they're going to show is they're going to show something Obsidian related. These are the guys, of course, that did the Outer Worlds and the South Park RPG game, the first one, Stick of Truth. They also did Fallout New Vegas. So I have a feeling they're going to show something new. The Outer Worlds just came out, but I have a feeling they're going to show something. Maybe even a new IP from Obsidian. But they're also going to show that other game that their B team is making, the Grounded game that kind of like... Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, kind of like, I think it's like it's like a survival game, maybe not Battle Royale, I think it's just a survival game. They're going to show that for sure, but I have a feeling they might show something new from them that they're working on, or they're going to show some Outer Worlds DLC, which would be really cool, because I want some Outer Worlds DLC. Even though I haven't finished Outer Worlds, I got really close, and I will finish that eventually. All right, next they're going to show Project Mara, which is that new game from the guys at Ninja Theory. Of course, they're also making Hellblade 2. I think it's a little too early to see anything Hellblade related. Possibly have a new trailer for Hellblade 2, but most likely not. But Project Mara is another thing they were doing, which I did a reaction for, and it looked very trippy, very weird, and it looked like beautiful graphically. So I'm assuming we're going to get that. We're going to get the actual name, unless that is the title. Maybe that title makes sense if you see the game more. Project Mara, I don't know. even though they delayed this until next year, I have a feeling we'll see more of Tales of Arise, which is the new Tales game. They showed this at the Xbox conference last year, so I have a feeling they're going to show... I'm pretty sure it was at the Xbox thing, right? Yeah, I think it was. They're going to show more of that game. They're going to show a little bit more, and then they'll confirm a release date for next year. But that's another one. This one is very vague, just like the third-party one. I think they're going to announce a new IP. They may even announce 2 if the Obsidian thing happens. But I have a feeling there's a new IP, and there's a studio that they have yet to talk about for like 2 years, ever since they made the studio. And then maybe they have talked about it, but I haven't heard anything about it since 2 years ago. They made a studio called The Initiative, which... I haven't heard about anything from them since 2 years ago when Phil Spencer came out and said, we made a new studio and we also bought Ninja Theory, we bought all these studios. So I'm just really confused what's going on with them. So I have a feeling they're working on something new. A lot of people want a Fable. I want a new Fable game, and there's a lot of rumors about Playground Studios doing that. But I wouldn't be surprised if like this is going to be like a Spider-Man situation where everybody thought Sucker Punch was doing the Spider-Man game and then it ended up being Insomniac. Maybe it's The Initiative. Maybe they're making Fable. Maybe they're doing something else. Maybe they're remake of Blinks the Time Sweeper. Maybe. I don't know. No. Grab by the Ghoulies remake. Was a Kung Fu Chaos remake. What are dead IPs from the original Xbox can they bring out? Oh, Viva Pinata? That's not the original Xbox. I don't know. Or a new IP. Or something out of nowhere that nobody was expecting. And the last thing I think that they will do, they will announce that they're buying more studios. I think this is going to be the end of them buying studios, though. I think they'll announce like a couple more and then that'll be it. I have no idea what studios. I was predicting the guys that did the Blair Witch game and also the Medium. I forgot their names. I think it's Bloober Team. I think that's their name. Or just Bloober. It might just be Bloober. Those guys, because Blair Witch was exclusive to Xbox for like a year. And then the Medium is exclusive, at least for now, I think, for Xbox. So I think they're going to buy those guys. But besides that, I don't really know who else. I did make predictions recently. We did a podcast thing where we predicted those, but I don't remember my predictions. And honestly, I don't want to keep just like rattling off predictions of stuff that most likely won't happen. They might not even announce anybody they're buying. So not at this event, at least. All right, so that's all my expectations. There are other things. Like I'm sure they're going to show off like other stuff. Like they'll show off... I don't know what else they got, like Dirt 5 again or something like that. Stuff they showed maybe back in May, they'll show again, like they will with the Medium and Scorn and stuff. Maybe what was that one game that started off the May Inside Xbox? It was like that Crisis For Honor kind of looking game. What was it called? It was really cool. It was like the first person shooter with like melee and stuff. It looked cool. But anyway, let's get to my hopes, because this is going to be crazy, because this stuff is just going to be like, if all this happens, it's like a fucking dream come true. All right, so for all these. Okay, so the first one, this one is not as crazy because this actually already got announced. But I'm hoping they talk about that Nier Replicant remake. Remember Nier, of course, Nier Automata just came out. Well, it didn't just come out, but I just finished it recently. And I played the original Nier when it came out 10 years ago, and I loved that game. I thought it was great. I even did a review for it. But that game is Gestalt, and there's another version of Nier that only came out in Japan called Replicant that never came out in America. And I never played, obviously, because it never came out in America. So it was one of those games I've been wanting to play. So they're remaking that game. They already announced it a few months ago, and I think it was supposed to come out this year. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I think it's rumored to come out this year at least. So I'm hoping maybe Microsoft will show that. I mean, Microsoft showed Nier Automata because they got that game to come over to Xbox, and they got the Become as Gods edition. So maybe I don't know. I'm hoping for a release date, some gameplay. I want to see it. Even if it doesn't come out until next year, I want to see it. And this might be the best time to do it, because besides this and Ubisoft, there's really not any other conferences besides maybe Gamescom. I guess Gamescom could happen. Um, this one is not happening. This one's just not happening. Scalebound's back. I put that because I'm just like, there's been so many rumors about Scalebound coming back. It's just not going to happen, but I would love for it to happen. That'd be amazing if Scalebound did come back. But I don't think so. I mean, it'll be the same thing with like Fable Legends and what was the other thing they canceled? Did they cancel something else? I'm sure they did. But that would be really, really cool if it did come back and it looks good. You know, I mean, I thought it looked great, but supposedly it didn't look great on the inside. And like Microsoft was just like, but it was Platinum Games. Platinum knows how to make a game. I mean, they have a couple stumbles here and there, but I feel like those stumbles were from the B team at Platinum Games. I could be wrong there, but like that Turtles game that came out sucked. That Legend of Korra game was not great. I know a lot of people didn't really care for that Transformers game, but I loved it. I thought it was great. But yeah, all their games. I mean, I just talked about Nier Automata. That was Platinum Games. I would love if Nier Replicant was also Platinum, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think they announced that was the case. So, but it's also like a remaster remake of the original, so it might just have the same combat system anyway. So, the original Nier combat was good. I liked it, and I think the one we got, the American one, the Gestalt or whatever, gameplay wise is very similar to Replicant. It just has a different story, kind of. But anyway, Scalebound. Come on, bring it back, baby. All right, this one is very hopeful. Maybe not as hopeful for Scalebound or as Scalebound, but I want them to announce that Xbox Series X will have full backwards compatibility. And I'm not talking about like all the games they already announced as backwards compatible on Xbox One, all the original Xbox games that were backwards compatible. I want every single Xbox fucking game to work on the Xbox Series X. I want to play so many games on 360 and Xbox that I just can't right now because I don't have a real a functioning 360. I do. It's not a long story. It's just old and shitty. And my Xbox original is kind of shitty too, and I have to plug it all in and stuff. And I don't want to do that stuff. I want to just play it on one thing. And if they announce that the Xbox Series X is the place to go if you want to play anything Xbox, if you got an Xbox game, put it in. You want to play Def Jam Fight for New York on Xbox? Slam that bitch into our slot, girl. Let's play. I would love that. That would be so good. I want that. I want that so bad. That more than pretty much everything else here, besides maybe one other thing, which we'll talk about soon. All right. So next, hope. This one's just not gonna happen only because EA wouldn't announce it here. Now I mentioned earlier one of the expectations. Maybe it wasn't really an expectation. It was just an example of an expectation. That the Mass Effect Trilogy remaster would be shown. That is gonna happen. They already confirmed that's happening. But this is the hope. This is the hope of it. That they will, and EA is not going to do this because they want money, but they don't want to do a lot of work, so it's just not going to happen. But I'm hoping, please, I really want a Blue Point style remaster / remake of Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is still a great game, but if it looked better... Hell, even if it looked as good as Mass Effect Andromeda, which I know there was a lot of weird stuff in that game, but for the most part, that game looked really nice. Like, the environments, all that stuff looked really good. Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games. I love that game. I really do. I didn't care for the first one. I got a few hours in multiple times and just never could get past that first few hours. The second game, I fucking love. I beat it like 4 or 5 times. I love that game. It's so good. I even love the third one. I know a lot of people don't care for the ending, obviously, but I love that game too. But yeah, 2, I would love a Blue Point. Of course, the guys that did Shadow of Colossus, they're doing Demon Souls. They did the Uncharted collection. They remastered Uncharted 1. If they did a Blue Point style like remaster of at least Mass Effect 2, that would be amazing. If all 3 of them, that would be even fucking better. If they remade Mass Effect 1 to be less clunky, that would be so cool. I know a lot of people like Mass Effect 1, which is fine. I'm not going to sit here and say you're fucking wrong. All right, so that one's probably not going to happen just because EA would have announced it, because that would have been a big thing for EA, but who knows, maybe it's not going to happen. It's just hopeful. This is extreme hopeful hopes. And dreams. I do have 2 cups, by the way, stacked onto each other. Someone was wondering. All right, sorry, I had to cut real quick there. But anyway, we have two more hopes. Two more. One of them is the one I mentioned earlier that might be like on par with the backwards compatibility for Xbox Series X. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, I think backwards compatibility would be so fucking good with Xbox Series X. I'm talking about full backwards compatibility. Everything. It's not going to happen. They probably already confirmed it's not happening, but I don't look at rumors a lot. So just sometimes I'll look at rumors. Most of the time I like to stay away from rumors because rumors could potentially be leaks also. So like, oh, here's a rumor that this game is happening, and then it happens, and I'm like, why'd I read that rumor? Like, I want to be surprised by things. Anyway, me being surprised by reading a headline on freaking Kotaku is not the same as like a big reveal trailer. You know what I mean? Anyway, one thing that might surpass the backwards compatibility thing, or just at least is the same level, is a new Fable game. Now, I love Fable. I freaking love Fable. Third game was a little disappointing. For the most part, it was actually pretty good, or really good, actually, until the end where it's just like, you're a king, and then it just skipped like a whole year. I'm like, it was really like, it was very jarring, but I still really liked that game. I liked all the characters. I liked the combat. It was all great. I love the style, the charm. Lionhead, that personality is just on point. But my favorite game in the series is Fable 2. So what I'm hoping is if Playground Studios, the guys that are of course doing Forza Horizon, there was a lot of rumors about them making a Fable game. Recently, I think Microsoft kind of squashed this rumor, but it could be one of those things where they're squashing it just so people don't get leaked, or people don't know that it's actually happening. So when they reveal it, it'll be like a big surprise. It could be one of those. But yeah, so Fable from Playground Studios would be cool. A reboot, 4, whatever you want to call it. But one thing that would be really cool, and I wouldn't mind this at all, if it's not going to be as hype as if there's a new Fable game, but I would love, just like with Mass Effect, if Fable 2 got remastered. Because you remember Fable Anniversary came out. Fable, the original, got remade a few years ago. And it was a pretty good remake, I guess. It had some problems, had some frame rate problems, but for the most part, it was a really good remaster, I guess. And I hope that happens with Fable 2, because I love Fable 2. I did a full playthrough for Fable 2, actually. It was one of those ones back in like 2008 or 9 where I had to use a camcorder like DSP style and just like film my TV. But that's because I was poor and didn't have it. It's like the worst quality too. So I was like way younger, obviously, so it's probably the worst playthrough ever. But it was fun. I love that game. I really do. All the characters are great. The only problem with it is like the ending is always like, every time I play it, I'm just like, that's it. Like I play it like 4 times. Every time I'm like, that's it. Really? All right. Fable does not do boss battles well. But anyway, hopefully Playground Studios, who have only really done racing games in the past, can do it if they are going to make that. But I would love a Fable 2 remaster. Or remake. Remake would be cool too. But I think the more likely thing is there's just going to be a new Fable game. And it'll just be called Fable. And it'll be its own new thing. It won't have the charm that Lionhead's had, but I don't know. And my last hope, this one will, just like everything else in my hopes, will probably not happen. I'm getting too hyped. Perfect fucking Dark. Please. There's this is something I really want. A new Perfect Dark. Please don't be as bad as 0. Not that 0 is actually bad. It's just not as good as the original. There's only 2 Perfect Dark games. How that series has been around since what 97? How? There's only 2? 2. If you don't count the Game Boy Color version of Perfect Dark, which you better not. 2. There's only 2. That's crazy to me. I love the original Perfect Dark. Joanna Dark, amazing character. It's a great game. It's a great game. And I would love a new game. So that's another hope. Perfect Dark returns, just like Battletoads returned. Conquer kind of returned a few years ago, but we'll let's not mention that. Not like that. No. Yeah. So a lot of things I want are just like things to return. Really. I mean, my hope is that we get a bunch of really cool new IPs, but it's hard to predict a new IP because I mean, you don't know what it is. How are you gonna predict? Oh, Ghostwire. If somebody said there's going to be a game called Ghostwire before the Bethesda press conference last year, I'd be like, you heard some fucking leak. Get out of here. There's no way you were predicting a title called Ghostwire. Get out of here. But I guess you can predict new IP from Obsidian. You could say that. I think that's going to happen. You also say, like, the Rocksteady game that has been in development for, like, a few years that has been rumored to be in development might show up. Maybe Microsoft will buy Rocksteady. Who knows? I don't know. But, I guess we'll find out in a few weeks. So, there you go. That's my predictions. I know it was a little long, but those are my predictions, expectations, and hopes for the Xbox July event for 2020. I hope a lot of this shit happens. I really do. I really do. Please, God. God, please. I need to fill the hole in my soul. E3. I miss it.